Hello, Libra Rising. This is Scopes Unshamed for May 2026. Let's go. Well, first of all, I'm going to invite you to go back and listen to the April scope if you haven't lately. Honestly, as a person who lives according to devotional cycles, paying close attention to the astrology all the time, taking lots of notes about what's going on in my life and my journal so I can see the evidence of what's actually happening in me, through me, and around me, I find it so helpful to go and listen to the scope of what has previously happened so that I can listen in the context of my knowing what actually did happen. And then I can sense how to frame my story with the magical language of astrology. And so then when I go into the next phase here, the month of May, I'm able to be rooted in the story that I understand that I'm in and the path that I understand is what's unfolding. So that when you listen to this May horoscope, you really like feel rooted in that. So that's my invitation for you here at the start. Let's get into May. One of the interesting things about May 2026 is that May 1 and May 31 are both full moons. So that doesn't happen very often. It's kind of to me looking like like a hammock where the full moons are like holding the whole of the month as these moments of great illumination. And they're going to each be really different, which is something that you can track. So let's start with the first full moon and move through the month to the last one. So on May 1, then we have this full moon in Scorpio, which is the polar sign of the sign that the sun is in, which is Taurus. We always have a full moon in Scorpio around this time of year. So let's consider what may be coming up for you. First of all, Scorpio is a deep way. It's a way of water, the emotional life. And Scorpio takes us to like the truth of the deep feelings, to the feelings that come up with the deep truth. So for everyone, there's a level of intensity, a keyword for Scorpio. Why is it intense? Because many of us are learning how to feel. Many of us were conditioned in ways where we weren't guided to be skilled in feeling, and we learned to not feel. And but in present time, we've been learning how to feel again. And the more we feel, the more we feel. Feeling more means feeling more. So we think it feels intense to feel, especially when you're learning how to feel again, and like feel these deep, high sensational truths that can come up around the way that is Scorpio. And so there's this level of openness to that is vulnerable. One of the key signatures may be that there's a kind of vulnerability that's in the air. Vulnerable meaning our capacity to be wounded, which is what it is to be alive. We're all going to be wounded. We are wounded. So it seems to me that vulnerability is a doorway through which we must learn to walk because it will help us feel more alive inside of ourselves and be able to feel all feelings, including the really good ones. So there's like a level of vulnerability here, and what it really may be lighting up for you, because I imagine you may have be going through some shifts with your relationships. Just a hunch. Looking at your chart, you have Aries in the seventh house. There's a lot going on in Aries. My guess is your one-on-one contracts, like your whether you're married or not, a business partner, very close friends, the people you're really in the one-on-one with, they may be going through some restructuring, some strain, some pressure to clarify into more clear agreements and what you really want from those relationships as you just sense like things need to get updated here. That's a lot of like pressure on what is shared. Um, and this full moon may be bringing up for you just like the vulnerability of feeling safe with what you have. You know, like feeling safe with your money, feeling safe with this, your security, your assets you're having. Um, because Scorpio is lighting up that house. It's your second house. And it is a vulnerable thing to be people who've been programmed with scarcity to be with the fact that we have needs, you know, like we have needs. And it can feel frightening in our culture that's not a culture of care. Will I have what I need in the face of some of my agreements shifting? And when you have a full moon, my invitation is just to let it be. What it is it's an illumination. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to act now. The invitation is to sit back and notice what is being illuminated. You don't have to act. Take your notes, write it down. This is what's coming up. This is what's coming up. This is what's coming up. That's what the meaning of this full moon is. It's what's coming up. And what is that? What's coming up bring up in you? That's the meaning of the full moon for you. So, your own sense of I am a person of resources and I can trust that even though it's vulnerable. I am a person who is capable of um, being the source of my own prosperity. Big theme at the beginning, because as you're in the month of May, you're also moving through some themes around the vulnerability of what is shared in your life, not just what's yours, but what you share with others. That's a vulnerable place. It's vulnerable to be in debt to someone. It's vulnerable to have debts to you. Like, but we do this because we can't live alone. That in itself is so intense. So, you may be really like learning a lot at this time. And it's kind of maybe behind the scenes, like the people around you maybe can't see that this is happening, but there's a lot moving through the surface. And what you may be going through, I call an emergent no, which is a framework that I created for Aries, Taurus, Gemini many years ago now. And I have a free workshop with a free PDF that you can access through the show notes. If anything of what I'm saying feels like, yes, Britten, I want help with that, this is free. Resource yourself. Okay. So the emergent no is different than the fuck no because a fuck no is clear, it's straightforward, it's even fun. No, the emergent no is the no that's under the surface of our conscious awareness. Like we are only conscious of so much. So, like the ocean, there's all this stuff underneath the surface that we can't necessarily see. So, I teach the skills to see more, but then there's always more that we can't see about ourselves. This is fun. We're so deep and complex. But we may have a no, like some part of us knows that it's a no, the relationship, the job, the way of being, the pattern, the way we talk to ourselves, the belief system. It could be all kinds of things. An emergent no is a no that's under the surface of awareness that then begins to emerge and we start to see it. And we can have a no under the surface for months. We can have an emergent no under the surface for decades, decades, because it's intelligent that it's staying under the surface. It's because we currently, when it's under the surface, do not have the capacity or the circumstances to be with how our lives are going to have to change when we deal with this no. So if an emergent no is coming forward, it's signaling that you have become a person who can be with that no. That doesn't make it exciting though, usually, because usually we had it under the surface for a reason. Like we really did used to believe in this thing that we're now a no to. Maybe we've really invested a lot in it, including how we talk to ourselves, the stories through which we see the world. We've invested a lot of time in like believing in a story of our disempowerment, but maybe it's coming up to be a no because that's not who you are anymore. So when you're encountering emergent no, it's about reconciling the past with the present because you care about the future. So these are all things that I love to talk about in my world because it's very complicated, but also very like multidimensional and magical the way we really can repair and update into present time. So, the first half of your month, you may be kind of wrestling with the truth. You may have been wrestling with it some in April as well. It starts to show itself. And in the workshop, I talk about some of the symptoms and I talk about ways to relate to it. So, it's going to begin to go to a head towards the middle of the month where you're going to start to have clarity about how to act or whether to act. Is this the right timing to act? Whatever it is, you're going to have more clarity and you're going to be able to commit to being the person who knows what you now know about yourself. And then you can move forward. And what's fun is that the energy is going to very rapidly start to change astrologically in the middle of the month. So that energy of like being with the truth, that is going to shift. And now you're in a new energy after the middle of the month. Planets are moving signs. The sun is going to Gemini. It's lighting up another part of your life. You will want to feel good with where you got to with all of that being with a choice. Even if the choice is, I'm not going to act yet on this no, but I am committed to listening, that can be the commitment that you're making. You don't have to act in any way impulsively or rashly, but some of you may will. So then we're going to be moving into Gemini season, and it's going to be a time when yeah, because you just went through that, you can now begin to contextualize all that you're learning about yourself, all that you're learning about your life path. Who am I? Where am I going? What's the meaning of life? Into like a larger philosophical anchoring that can support you. Maybe you seek a new teacher. Maybe you're getting really into learning to help you to navigate the skills that your life has been telling you that you're going to need to grow. So, like, one thing will lead to the next, right? Like, one thing is going to lead to the next, and you're going to start to resource yourself with ideas, with inspiration, with teachers, with philosophies that are going to help you be with all that you've been learning so that you can get informed. Like it's time to get informed, like resource yourself. And that's going to be a big theme that's coming up in the second half of the month. There's also some pretty like big astrology the week of May 21-ish. That whole week, there's potentially some surprises, some intensities. I think we're going to see this at a collective level. We're used to this. We have collective level what the fuck astrology regularly in very obvious ways. You're starting to learn like, what do I need when the collective is going through stuff? What is the degree of information I'm good with getting? What kind of boundaries do I need around information? What boundaries do I need around other people's energy? So that I can stay focused on also the things that I really care about learning right now, the things that I really care about calling to my path to inspire me and to help me see the larger story that I'm living. And there may be even a kind of sudden awakening around this, like suddenly a teacher coming into your life, a philosophy coming into your life, your own philosophy sort of like dropping in of you, like starting to see larger context in a new way that could be extremely liberating for you. So all you have to do there is keep your eyes open. You cannot fuck it up. Just follow the signs. Then we finally get to that final full moon on May 31st, which is in Sagittarius. Sagittarius being the polar sign of Gemini, the sign that the sun will be in. Full moons are always in the sign that's opposite the sun. So the full moon activates a polarity in your chart as well. So this energy of the full moon is really supportive. Um, it's really like buttressing. It's, I think, going to be illuminating in ways that feel like you have the language to talk about it and you see how to get more, even more support. Um, so you may find that this particular full moon is bringing things up for you regarding perhaps like how to bring all of this larger learning, this like sky view learning philosophy about your life into the regular mundane way that you live, like the small spells, the daily root of your devotional life, repatterning with the so that it's a match to the philosophy, so that you're the way you talk to people in your world reflects the larger like systems of belief that hold you, so that there's like affinity. Like one of the things that we learn on a spiritual journey is there can be sometimes a mismatch that we feel between the way we chat with our neighbors and the way we chat like with people in a learning environment where it's like spiritual, say, for example. And this is not a problem, but sometimes there you can notice a kind of dissonance of like, I am not bringing my cosmology into my daily conversations. And I don't like how that feels anymore. You know what I mean? Like that's coming through for me as maybe something that like will be really grounding for you, is to notice the ways that you want to like speak the medicine of your philosophy everywhere you go. You want to live it everywhere you go, so that there's not a lack of coherence between your beliefs and then the ways you make choices and the way you act and the way you talk, you know? And that will feel really good for your heart. And kind of like, what are the boundaries with yourself that you need for that? What are the boundaries with other people that you need for that? So that you can be a person that you just feel is like living with more resonance between like sky and village, and like it all runs through your heart where you know your integrity. So I wasn't planning to say that, but that's what just came through. I hope that that's supportive. I feel that that's about it. My suggestion to you is that you make a note in your planner to come back and listen to this in the middle of the month. That way you can listen anew from the perspective of having data, like from the perspective of like what you're actually living, and then let this horoscope support you all over again. This scope Unshamed. Thank you so much. I'll see you in June.